over the life and the accomplishments and the advices and the sayings and the quotes of Imam Ash-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala, who is the second Imam from amongst the four A'imma Arba'ah. So inshallah, continuing from where we left off last week we were going over his advices and his sayings and advices of wisdom. Imam Ash-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala mentions that qira'atul hadithi khayrun min salati tatawwu', that to study and recite and learn the hadith is more virtuous than performing the voluntarily salah, the nafil salah. In other words, when a person has free time, it is better for that person to dedicate that free time in learning the deen of Allah, in learning the Quran, in learning the hadith, in learning the fiqh, than being engaged with the nafil salah. And this is not only his statement, this is also the statement of multiple other scholars of the past. And ever since my childhood also, when we were studying, the scholars constantly used to mention this, that perform your salah, perform your nafil, perform your sunnah, 2 or 4 rak'ats nafil, and then after that dedicate your time to the books. And then they used to tell us that these days will not return back. And now 10 years later, I can take an oath by Allah's name, that time has not yet come back again. So they were correct. And also he says, طَلَبُ الْعِلْمِ أَفْضَلُ مِنْ صَلَاةِ النَّافِلَةِ, which is basically, the translation is that for a person to seek Islamic knowledge is better for him than to perform nafil salah. So this is something that we should keep in mind also, because us Muslims in today's time and era, in comparison to those who are before us, we are lagging behind in our Islamic knowledge. Unfortunately, many of us do not even know the basics. That is why the Prophet ﷺ says, فَقِيهٌ وَاحِدٌ أَشَدُّ عَلَى الشَّيْطَانِ مِنْ أَلْفِ عَابِدٍ, that for shaitan to misguide one person who has the understanding of deen, it is more difficult for shaitan to misguide this one individual than misguiding 1,000 worshippers. It is easier for shaitan to misguide 1,000 worshippers, but it is difficult for shaitan to misguide one person who is a faqih, who has the understanding of the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. So based on this hadith, the scholars have mentioned this. It's not something that they made up from their own side. They have extracted it from this hadith of فَقِيهٌ وَاحِدٌ أَشَدُّ عَلَى الشَّيْطَانِ مِنْ أَلْفِ عَابِدٍ. Moving on, he rahimahullah ta'ala also mentions that الْوَقْتُ كَالسَّيْفِ إِن لَمْ تَقْطَعْهُ قَطَعَكَ. And this is a statement that we grew up hearing, that time is like a sword. And then he says that if you don't cut the time, it will cut you. In other words, if you don't use this time wisely, then you're not getting this time back. You're not getting this time back. So Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala gives an example of time, and he also gives an example of how we are in this world. And he wants you and I to use our imagination. Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah says that imagine a person who's walking in a jungle, and all of a sudden a lion starts to chase that person. So I want everyone to imagine this scene happening. Just like how many of the times we replay the scenes of the movies or the videos that we watched on our phones and on our TVs. We use our imagination. Now let's use our imagination for this example. So he says, imagine a person is walking in a jungle, and all of a sudden a lion starts to chase him, and he sees no hope and he sees no malja. Malja means a place of refuge. And he's becoming very tired and he's becoming fatigued. So therefore, the only place of refuge he sees is a well. And the man goes inside the well and he holds on to the rope tightly. And when he looks down, he sees a snake inside the well, and the serpent's mouth is wide open to devour him and to swallow him alive. Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah says that this person is now in anxiety. he's in depression because he doesn't know what to do. He needs guidance. If he goes up, the lion was chasing him throughout the entire jungle. But if he goes down, then he's going to be eaten and smitten and devoured by the snake. So he has no choice now. Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah says that since he's holding on to the rope tightly with his firm grip, the man all of a sudden now sees two mice or two rats. One is a black one, the other one is a white one, and both of them are nibbling on that rope. Both of them are nibbling on that rope. So then Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah says that this man now, in this state of depression and this state of anxiety, what does he do? He sees a honeycomb and he dips his finger in quickly just to taste the honey. And the sweetness of that honey makes him forget that there's a lion outside and that the mice are nibbling on the rope and that beneath him is the serpent. So he rahimahullah says that the lion is like the angel of death. You cannot escape the angel of death. Allah says, يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ مَلَكُ الْمَوْتِ الَّذِي وُكِّلَ بِكُمْ. He says in the Quran in Surah Sajda that the angel of death, he has been appointed over you, O human beings, and I, Allah, have given him so much power that in multiple places simultaneously he's able to extract the ruhs and the souls of the people. So there's no escape, just like how from the lion there's no escape. And then he says that the well that this man sought refuge in was the temporary safety that offered him a false sense of security, meaning the dunya. And then he says that the rope that he was holding on to was his life, and the black and the white mice was day and night that were nibbling. And his time was very limited in this world. And a decision was about to be made. Either the lion was going to eat him or the snake was going to eat him. In other words, there is no escape from either one of the two. There is no escape from the qabr and the malakul maut also. And then he rahimahullah says that also that do not waste your time in this world. That is why Imam al-Shafi'i says, إِن لَمْ تَقْطَعْهُ قَطَعَكَ. If you do not take control of your time, time will cut you. In other words, you're not getting this time back ever in your life. Money you will be able to earn, right? Money you can earn later on. Health you can regain back. Everything has a possibility, but there is no possibility of the time lost being returned back into our lives. So this is the advice of Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala. He rahimahullah ta'ala says that if you are on your way towards Allah, then run. Meaning, do not be happy when it comes to your deen, always seek more. And then he says, if it's hard, then jog and walk fast towards Allah Azza wa Jal. And then he says that even if you have to crawl towards Allah, but never give up that action that you are doing. Never give up that action that you are doing. Just like how many of us, if not all of us, and I have experienced this with multiple people, not just one or two people, multiple people for over a decade now, they make the intention, they make the firm resolution that every single day I will memorize the Quran. Every single day I will perform 2 rak'ah salah. Every single day I will recite a specific amount of pages from the Quran. They end up doing it for a few days, for a few weeks, and then after that, it stops. And then after that, it stops. Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala says that do not stop it, even if you have to do that action very minimally, but still continue it to the best of your ability. Do not say that, you know what, I've stopped. And he says, rahimahullah, in other words, this is one of the tricks of shaitan. My brothers and sisters, did you know that if a person were to memorize 2 verses of the Quran every day, in 8 years and 10 months roughly, they will memorize the entire Quran? Did you know that? In 8 years and 10 months, or 9 years, they will memorize the entire Quran if a person were to memorize just 2 verses every single day. Just 2 verses. And the verses are not long. Only a few of them are long. The other hundreds of verses are not long. They're not long. عَمَّ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ عَنِ النَّبَإِ الْعَظِيمِ. These are 2 verses. Now, some of us might say, well, I need a day off. What if I were to get sick? Add another few years to it. 3-4 years, right? At least in 12 years, or in the past 12 years, we could have memorized, if not the entire Quran, at least a portion of the Quran. At least a portion of the Quran. But then, what does Shaitan say? That look, the Quran is so long, over 100 surahs, thousands of verses, it's so difficult. Just be content with your قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ and قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Just be content with it. This is one of the tricks of Shaitan. But when it comes to our dunya, we're never content with that. We always want more and more. But when it comes to our deen, when it comes to our Quran, when it comes to our a'mal, we're always content with the bare minimum. It should be the total opposite. So Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala says that never stop that amal. Always continue it, and you will see the barakah of it in your life. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant me and all of us the ability and the tawfiq to act upon the advices of our pious predecessors and to follow the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wa akhiru da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. From tonight, Salatul Isha will be at 9:15. Once again, from tonight, Isha Salat will be at 9:15 inshallah.